Welcome to the Soda Script Junkie. Today we're going to learn about how scripts work in Soda Dungeon 2. First of all, we need to learn where you find them. You find them in the arena under Soda Scripts. What you would find normally is the default script, and only the default script, but I've been a bit busy. So, we're going to start off by looking at some of the scripts I've got. Now, in this video, we're going to look at the Dark Mage. And we're going to review how that works. So, what we have here is a simple script. Rather simple, actually, despite the way it looks. Now, it may look kind of confusing, but it works pretty simple. You have a simple chain of command. You have the first it checks the MP. It says MP is 50% default attack. So it checks the MP to see what the MP is for the character. If it is the MP for the Dark Mage is X, it does this. Then it checks the amount of enemies that are alive on the team, it does X. Same thing with the status effect. If it's negative, it does a default attack. Now, the reason why this is important is because the way it behaves. You want to know its behavioral patterns. By doing this, you can set up complex behavioral patterns, but we'll get into that later. Now, next thing it does is it checks the rank. If it is normal, it'll do Noxin. Now, if it isn't equal to normal, it does Curse. Finally, it checks to see if it isn't or, then it does the default attack. The reason why I put isn't or as last is because if I put it as first, it'll always default attack. Now, let's see this in practice. Man, it's a pain going through all these levels. Oh well. We'll just go to 500. That works. Stop here. As you can see, it poisons the enemy and then attacks. Poisons the enemy, then attacks. Only when it's poisoned, though. If it doesn't die. If I get lucky. And the basic enemies don't kill it. We'll find out. It might die from this. Yeah, it's gonna die. Oh well. That shows off the basic Noxin attack, though, but it's a good start. Anyway, let's hire another Dark Mage and we'll show off the Curse ability. To give a better demonstration. We'll go to floor 300 because that's a better gauge. That's a better place to gauge it. That's what I find. It's just enough that it can one-shot the basic enemies and has a hard time with the bosses. Or almost one-shot them. And it'll only attack the ones that are poisoned, not the ones that aren't. So, that's convenient. Poisons are cursed. So, if you have an enemy that poisons already, or puts a negative status effect like burn, then that's convenient. So, keep that in mind when working with other members, on other party members. See how it curses or tries to curse. And it succeeds. Now it's going to attack it. What's happening right now is the AI is checking individually if the NPC has a certain type of effect, and it's checking to see if it has a status effect. If it doesn't have a status effect, it's checking to see if it does, it attacks. If it doesn't, it curses or whatever. Uses it in a special attack. And it keeps doing it until all enemies have that effect. And so on and so on. That's what it's programmed to do as such. Now, let's move on to something else. A little more complex in a little bit, but not right now. Since we've seen a good demonstration of this, let's go ahead and exit out of the dungeon and kind of go over what's happened. Get a quick summary. To kind of get a quick summary and understanding of what we just saw. Alright? So, for a quick summary as to what happened, the Dark Mage checks the MP, checks the number of enemies, checks the status effect, then checks the rank. If it is normal, it poisons. If it isn't normal, it curses. If it isn't, or it default attacks, which is necessary. I repeat, this one is necessary for every single class setup. You have to have this one. I can't repeat that enough. That is a crucial thing. Where you put it, that's up to you though. Miners is a bit different. We'll do that later though. It's another project for a different day. This has been the SodaScript Junkie.